So here's a decision that a lot of you are making right now, and you're making it in your head so that nobody can stop you. Nobody can talk you out of it. You're looking at the next few weeks. You've got the holiday booked. The kids are off school. Your Tuesday and Thursdays are about to get eaten alive by real life. Your Monday, your Wednesday, your Friday are dominated by camps or holidays or just other things that happen over the summer in general. Somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet little voice is telling you you can just start back properly in September when things calm down. Here's the thing though. I want to talk you out of that little voice today. Not because I want to guilt trip you into coming to the gym loads and loads of times between now and then on your holidays. Actually, the opposite. I want to give you permission to do less at the gym. And I want to give you a plan for doing less and how to make sure that less doesn't turn into nothing. I think that's the big part, right? Because if we look at it now and say, I'm going to wait till September, then boom, we will. But what's the problem when September hits? Life never gets any easier. Just because the kids are back in school doesn't mean your routine is just going to all of a sudden allow for 3 to 4 hours a week where you're going to be able to just go to the gym. When you have time available, you fill the time with things. You have to make time to have time. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I don't want you to be having to build from scratch in September or October or even maybe January because you left it go for too long. Instead, I want to come up with a sustainable plan to keep you training. Because the reality is I've lived the bad version of this. I've done it wrong multiple times in my training history. And I'm someone who quite frankly should know better. That is the truth. So I want to tell you about the first time I went to Canada. And this is the time I got it wrong. So some of you may know my brother moved to Canada just after COVID, so I think it was 2021. Whenever the restrictions kind of allowed him to fly. So I went for 3 weeks, and I went with my parents, and it was our first time, obviously, in Vancouver, visiting my brother who was doing the abroad thing, and it was just, a great family trip. And of course, because it was just, what was supposed to be a once in a lifetime kind of thing, because we, at the time thought he'd probably be coming back. It doesn't look like he is. But I didn't do any training. I didn't do any gym work at all, really, which fair enough. I was on holidays for 3 weeks with my family. All I really did was a couple of hikes and things like that. So it was I would say it was the least active I've been maybe since I started CrossFit in 2013. And I think that's allowed. But here's where I got it wrong. Not on the holiday itself. Taking time on the holiday itself is cool. Taking those 3 weeks to just enjoy being with my family and go on those hikes, that's all good. What happened when I came home, though, is where I screwed it up. I walked straight back into the gym and tried to pick up exactly where I left off. What do you think happened? I went at it with the same intensity, the same weights, the same volume, as if the 3 weeks had never happened. I just jumped in and said, all right, I'm built different than what I would advise somebody else to do. That's obviously where the subconscious was ticking in, and boom, first week back, injury, hurt my knee, doing a back squat. And this is the part that really matters for you, because it's not just the injury, it's what the injury did to my head, because now I'm sore, and now I'm frustrated. I can't do the things that I want to do. I'm moving worse than I was a month ago. Every session feels like I'm having a fight with myself at the best of times. And when training feels like a fight, you just keep losing, and it feels like the compounding effect of that misery just drags it down. And you can see how if I didn't own a gym, I might have just quit at that point. If I didn't have instant access to it because of work, maybe I would have just stopped. And that's when the brain starts whispering, right? Maybe I'll just take a bit more time off. Maybe I'll restart when I feel better. And that is how people quietly stop. And it might not even be the injury part. It might just be that you come back and you don't feel like you did before. Mine is obviously an extreme because I hurt myself and it made me not feel like I did before. But maybe you've just come back after a week or two off and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I've lost all my strength. I feel like I've lost all my fitness. And that's how people quietly stop. It's not a big dramatic decision where it's like, oh my God, I hate coaches. I hate this gym. I hate these people. I can't stand going into the place. It never really comes from that. It's the slow bad week that turns into a bad fortnight, which turns into a bad month, which ultimately leaves you with this dissatisfied feeling that then means you ultimately go, do you know what? I need a break. I need a cut. I need to get over this funk that I'm in, and I'll come back fresh at insert future date here. And that is the exact opposite of what we want to happen, because let me tell you what actually goes on in your body when you take a few weeks off, because I think once you understand it, the whole thing stops being scary and starts becoming more manageable. So two things happen, and they happen at different speeds. The first thing to go is the skill. Lifting is a skill. Your nervous system learns how to fire the right muscles in the right order with the right timing, and that is a huge chunk of what we call strength. It's actually just the nervous system knowing what to fire and when. And that skill part is actually what fades first. It's roughly in the first week or two. And that's the real reason that if you take a 2-week holiday, that's the real reason when you come back from that 2-week holiday that you feel like you're not as strong. You feel like you've lost strength. You haven't. It's really just your body's own awareness of what to fire and when. And it's also something that can come back, pretty quickly. You haven't lost any real muscle. Your body has just got a bit rusty on the coordination side of things, right? And then the second thing is the actual muscle mass, right? So the good news that nobody tells you is that meaningful muscle mass loss doesn't really kick in until around the 3-week mark of not doing any strength training. And it gets more noticeable by weeks 4 and 5. So the long weekend away, basically nothing. A week off, basically nothing. 2 weeks is maybe it starts to see a little bit of a creep. 3 weeks of doing absolutely nothing, and it will start creeping back in. So my Canada trip was 3 weeks. I was genuinely in that zone where I had lost a little bit of muscle, but that's not really what got me hurt. It wasn't the muscle loss. The muscle loss had nothing to do with getting hurt when I came home. It was that my skill, coordination, timing had all gone a bit rusty, and I loaded it up like nothing had changed. It was like before I went, I was doing, X reps at 100 kilos. Now that I'm back, I'm doing Y reps at 110. And boom, that's where it went wrong. Not because I'd lost muscle mass, not because I'd lost strength, I just lost the coordination side. So rusty movement plus heavy weight equals injury for me, but for you it might not necessarily equal injury. Hopefully not, touch wood 10 times over. Hopefully it just means you feel sluggish, you feel a bit rough. You're like, I don't know, I'm not feeling great. I'm really not getting a good run at training. But the good news is you're not hurt, right? And that's the next thing, because the bit that should make you feel better than anything else I say today is that muscle memory genuinely is real. You can take years off something, and even though you've built it and you've lost some of it, getting back to it is faster than building it out the first time. When you lose strength, it's no coincidence that when we have somebody who, let's say, was training with us in 2019 and stopped then, right? We are 6 years later. That person, if they rejoin now and they've done nothing in the interim, that person will get up to speed quicker than somebody who's coming in as a brand new beginner. Why? Because the body remembers, it knows. It's able to figure out what's going on. Yes, the coordination is off. Yes, it's lost muscle mass. Yes, the CNS doesn't quite know when to fire. But eventually it starts remembering. It's like, we're doing this again. So then there's the second Canada trip, right? So this one was last year. My brother stayed, much to my mother's chagrin. He's having a great time out there. So if we want to see him, you got to go visit. So we ended up doing that supposedly once in a lifetime trip again. However, doing it the second time with the same brother, same city, it was just my energy changed. I learned my lesson. While I was away, I did a few sessions, but it wasn't a training camp by any stretch. I literally was going for a couple of hours in the morning because I'm an early riser and nobody else wanted to get up and do things with me. Everybody wanted to wait until the afternoon to go into the city and hang out and do all the touristy stuff. So what did I do? I'd get up and, I'd go hit a session at the gym or something like that. And that wasn't to try to preserve anything. That wasn't, and this is definitely not me saying you need to exercise on holiday. It's not. The crucial part to this story is that coming home this time, despite the fact that I had done more to maintain my fitness, I allowed myself the grace to ease back in. I spent the first 2 weeks loading it up light, moving through, doing the classes, following along with everybody to make sure I push. But I didn't dive back in like I did the first time around and just expect myself to be able to pick up where I left off. I understood that I'd been away for a period of time and my body needed a little bit of time to gain its coordination and figure out what the hell was going on. Because again, I was gone for nearly a month at that time. So no injury, no spiral, no quiet voice telling me to take more time off. And within about 2 weeks, I was fully back, you know? Better than the version of me who tried to bulldoze his way through it the first time, for sure. Same holiday, same period of time away, roughly, give or take a couple of days, but two completely different outcomes. And the only variable that changed is I respected the fact that when I came home, I came home and I understood that I had to approach things differently. That was the only difference. So here's actually what I want you to do. It's the floor, okay? It's the minimum. It's the goal, not the goal. The goal can be higher than this. It's just the floor. The line you do not drop below, no matter how the next few weeks go in terms of busyness, how mad it gets, all of that kind of stuff. So if you are going on holiday, when you come home, I want you to chill out. I want you to not put the pressure on yourself to go in and expect to just be able to hit what you were doing in June or early July. So if you're taking that time, understand that it's a different season. You need time to build back up to what you're doing. When things are really busy with school camps and all that kind of stuff, just aim for 2 sessions. If you normally do 3 or 4, cool. If you normally do 6, just reduce it down. That's fine. It doesn't have to be as aggressive as it is when you have more time for yourself. Try to walk. Honestly, this sounds too simple to matter, but it matters. When we have time off and when the weather is nice, and let's face it, the weather's never been nicer than it is right now. And even when you're away, you probably walk more than you think you do anyway with exploring and sightseeing. But even when you're at home, I want you to lean into it. Use the fact that we actually have sunshine for a sustained period of time in what feels like forever. Keep moving. Keep the appetite honest, and it'll keep you functioning even on the days that you're not physically training. You're not doing purposeful exercise, but you're still moving. So if you can aim for 2 short sessions, if you're walking or keeping the body engaged, and then when you do come back from the trips, just make sure you ease yourself in. The other thing you can do, and this is definitely one for holidays, is just aim for protein at least 2 meals of the day. And I'm not going to go too much into nutrition with holidays because that's an entire episode in itself. But let's face it, when we're away or over summer and you're meeting up with people and it's barbecues and all that, like that's all great. But just make sure that you're allowing for some good quality meals, and that's all we have to do. So what you'll notice about this like floor is we're just talking minimums, we're just talking basics, we're just talking walk around, we're talking get at least 2 sessions. They might not feel as good as when you're at your pump, but you know what? That's okay. You're just trying to keep everything ticking over, so when the season changes and you get more time back to commit to your fitness, then you can start ramping it up. It's a heck of a lot easier to ramp it up when there's something to go from versus trying to get off the couch. Trying to get off the couch takes months, if not years. Because next week is always a week away. Start fresh on a Monday. Oh, I'll leave it to the start of the next month. I'll wait till I get paid. All of these things that we hear all the time. So look, that's holidays, and when you do come home, give yourself the week to ease in. I don't care about how good you feel coming in on day 1 and you feel so energized, you're so rested. I don't care if you did some sessions while you were away like I did the second time around. Don't jump straight back in to do your old weights. Your skill of firing and coordinating your body has gone a little bit rustier than you would normally have. Even if your strength is fully there, that rust is exactly what gets people hurt in week 1, like what happened to me the first time around. So week 1 back, go lighter than you want to, focus on moving well, and just let the coaches know. I think there's, unfortunately, as nice as the coaches can be, people think it's an imposition when they ask to change something. And this goes for just like average everyday stuff in the gym. Like asking to scale back a movement is not causing the coaches any hassle, right? You're not imposing on them. So when you're coming home from holiday, if you're just not feeling good, if you have a sore knee, if you have a sore shoulder, you didn't sleep well, and you want to substitute a movement or you need to scale something back, it is never an inconvenience for a coach to change it. In fact, we would rather change it so that you get the best possible workout, so that you leave satisfied and feeling like you accomplished something. And that's true of any time ever. When you look at a board and you think, I don't know if I can do that, don't suffer in silence. Just ask the question. We will help as best as we possibly can. That will actually help avoid, number one, injury by doing too much, frustration by not feeling like you're capable to do what's written on the board or what you can do, and it stops that little voice nagging in the back of your mind saying that you need to take a break. That's the whole game. A little to do with while you're away, and then also how to approach things when you get back. So actually, what do I want you to take from this? You don't need to survive summer perfectly. It just needs to tick over. There's going to be periods in life when you're busier. There's going to be periods in life when you can get to the gym more often. There's going to be those times, and when they happen, cool, let's make the most of them. But just because you hit a busy patch or a time where you can't get in as much, it doesn't mean that stopping entirely is the best thing. 2 is better than 1, 1 is better than 0, and anything after that, there's a law of diminishing returns being applied. So do not make the decision in your head. Do not let the quiet voice book you a 6-week break from your own progress, from your own desires, from your own goals. Just hit the floor. Do 2 sessions. Walk around everywhere. Try hit protein at every meal. And then by the time September rolls around, you're going to be ready to go. You're going to be ready to ramp things up again rather than struggling to get off the couch to get started again. Starting is the hardest part of any gym. You know that from your previous training history. And of course, if anyone is listening to this and they're currently on the couch and they're waiting to join something, by all means, book a consultation with us or another gym around you want to get going. Just do it. It doesn't matter when you start. There's always going to be a quote unquote better time. There's always going to be September is best because the kids go to school, but then September rolls around and it's actually busy because the kids are settling into their routine and you have to bring them to sports afterwards. There's always going to be, I'll start in January because new year, new me. But what happens in January? You're exhausted. You're also probably broke from Christmas. So then it's like, okay, I'll wait till April or whatever. There's always an arbitrary better time that we can aim for, but realistically, the best time was yesterday. The second best time is today.